armor-clad gunman opened fire inside a rural Texas church on Sunday, killing more than 24 people in the largest mass shooting in the state's history, officials said. 26 people were killed during the shooting at First Baptist Church in Sutherland Springs, Texas. Gov. Greg Abbott said. He told Today Monday morning that there was information surfacing about why the particular location was chosen. That information may be coming out today or tomorrow, in the coming days, but I don't think this was a random act of shooting, Abbott said. The massacre in Sutherland Springs, which is located 30 miles east of San Antonio, was the deadliest ever at a house of worship in the United States. In addition to the dead, at least 19 people were hospitalized, according to 3 area hospitals. The shooter was later found dead, officials said. Law enforcement officials identified him as Devin Patrick Kelly, 26, of neighboring Comal County. Related a short history of mass shootings at houses of worship. Kelly was a former member of the Air Force, discharged for bad conduct in 2014. Ann Stefanik, a spokeswoman for the Air Force, confirmed that Kelly was court-martialed in 2012 on 2 charges of assaulting his spouse and their child. He was confined for a year and reduced in rank to Airman Basic E1 before his discharge, she said. Abbott called Kelly very deranged. He seemed to have a troubled past even before he enlisted, Abbott said on Today. Federal officials said the motive for the shooting was unclear. According to Wilson County Sheriff Joe Tackett, Kelly's in-laws attended the church, although they weren't there at the time. The in-laws were speaking with investigators, Tackett said. Devin P. Kelly was a freshman at New Braunfels High School in New Braunfels, Texas, in 2006. Popple Yearbook Library. Dressed all in black and wearing tactical gear and a ballistic vest, Kelly first began firing outside the church at around 11:20 a.m. local time, 12:20 p.m. ET before he continued his shooting spree inside, said Freeman Martin, a regional director with the Texas Department of Public Safety. He was armed with a Ruger assault-type rifle, Martin said. A local resident confronted the gunman after the shooting began, grabbed his rifle and engaged that suspect, according to Martin. The gunman dropped the rifle and then fled with the resident, identified as Johnny Langendorf, in pursuit. They said there was a shooting. I pursued and I just did what I thought was the right thing, Langendorf said. Gallery. Scenes of shock and grief after Texas church shooting as law enforcement responded. The suspect ran off the road in his car at the Wilson-Guadalupe County line and crashed while exchanging shots with Langendorf, Martin said. The suspect was found dead in the vehicle. It wasn't clear whether Kelly died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound or of a shot fired by Langendorf, officials said. Keeping all harmed in Sutherland Springs in our prayers and grateful for our brave first responders on the scene. Ted Cruz. At Ted Cruz November 5, 2017, police found multiple weapons inside the vehicle. Under federal law, anyone dishonorably discharged is not authorized to buy a gun, and Abbott said Kelly had applied for and been denied a right-to-carry permit from the state of Texas. It was after that he was able to buy this gun, so there's ongoing information that needs to be gathered, Abbott said. Authorities said ages of the victims ranged from 5 to 72, although later one bereaved family reportedly said an infant girl was among those killed. Joe and Clarice Holcomb lost 8 members of the family in the shooting, including children, her children and great-grandchildren, The Washington Post reported. Among the dead were Joe's 60-year-old son Brian, who had been preaching at the church, his wife Carla, 58, and Joe's granddaughter-in-law, Crystal Holcomb, who was pregnant. 3 of Crystal's children, Emily, Megan and Greg, were also killed. Crystal's unborn child also did not survive. Grandson Mark Daniel Holcomb and his infant daughter, who is about a year old, also died, Joe told the paper. Martin said that 23 people were found dead inside the church, 2 were found dead outside the church, and that another person who was transported from the scene had died. Founded in 1926, the church has 267 members and has an average attendance of around 180 people, according to a listing on the Southern Baptist Convention website. Everybody has a connection to that church, Wilson County Commissioner Albert Games Jr. said on Today. It's a family town. Anywhere you go, everybody recognizes everybody. Sherry Pomeroy, the wife of church pastor Frank Pomeroy, told NBC News in a statement that the teenage daughter was among the victims. She said she and her husband were out of town in different states at the time of the shooting. "We lost our 14-year-old daughter today and many friends," she said. "Neither of us have made it back into town yet to personally see the devastation." Sandy Ward told MSNBC that 4 of her children and her daughter-in-law were inside the church. The youngest child, a 5-year-old, was in surgery, and her 7-year-old granddaughter died. Ward was waiting with her son at a hospital for answers. "He's a wreck, of course, as you can imagine," Ward said. "I'm just in shock. I'm numb," she added. "My whole body's just numb." Rep. Vicente Gonzalez, D. Texas, said that he did not believe the incident was related to Islamist terrorism but was some kind of other incident that has to do with the church or the community. "It's a rural community and a conservative one, mostly farmers and ranchers and people who work out in the oil and gas patches," he said, adding that the area was very tranquil and very safe. Carrie Matchler, who works at a gas station about a block and a half away, said that she heard semi-automatic gunfire and looked to see what was going on. Carrie Matchler embraces a woman after a fatal shooting at First Baptist Church in Sutherland Springs, Texas, on Sunday. Nick Wagner, Austin American statesman via Abbott's a small Baptist church. "It's an older building. I don't know that they would have security cameras or anything high-tech like that. And I know they didn't have security in the parking lot," she said. "I never thought it would happen here," Matchler added. "This is something that happens in a big city. I would never have thought this would have taken place here. It's just too tight a community. It doesn't make sense." The Federal Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms and Explosives said agents from Houston and San Antonio were responding to the scene. Relatives of the gunman said they were shocked by the news. "I never in a million years could they believe Devon could be capable of this kind of thing," Dave Ivey, the shooter's uncle, told NBC News. "I am numb. My family will suffer because of his coward actions. I am so sorry for the victims in Texas. May God be W to the people of Sutherland Springs, Texas. The FBI law enforcement are on the scene. I am monitoring the situation." From Japan, Donald J. Trump at Real Donald Trump November 5, 2017 President Donald Trump, who is traveling in Asia, said in Tokyo that the shooting was a murderous attack and promised that we will never ever leave the family's sides. Former President Barack Obama shared his condolences over Twitter. "We grieve with all the families in Sutherland Springs harmed by this act of hatred, and will stand with the survivors as they recover," Obama tweeted. "May God also grant to all of us the wisdom to ask what concrete steps we can take to reduce the violence and weaponry in our midst." The church is a white wood frame building with a double door at the entrance and a Texas flag on a pole at the front area, according to its website, which was down shortly after the shooting. The website says the church schedule was for a fellowship breakfast on Sunday mornings, followed by Sunday school. A morning worship service was scheduled for 11 a.m. Emergency personnel at the scene of a fatal shooting at First Baptist Church in Sutherland Springs, Texas, on Sunday. KSAT via app. The church has posted videos of its Sunday services on a YouTube channel, raising the possibility that the shooting may have been captured on video. In the most recent service, posted October 29, Pomeroy, the pastor, began by speaking in front of a stage with 2 guitarists and a singer. A few children could be seen moving around and climbing onto the pews. Most people, including Pomeroy, were in jeans. Pomeroy parked a motorcycle in front of his lectern and used it as a metaphor in his sermon for having faith in forces that can't be seen, whether it is gravity or God. "I don't look at the moment. I look at where I'm going and look at what's out there ahead of me," Pomeroy said. "I'm choosing to trust in the centripetal forces and the things of God He's put around me.